Squaddies, brace yourselves, because the tabloids are at it again. And this time, they've managed to outdo even their usual nonsense. You'd think after 4 years of beating the same tired drum, they'd finally let it go. But no, apparently, the UK press has decided that if they scream, "Harry's coming back," loud enough and often enough, maybe, just maybe, it'll magically come true, except it won't. We're diving deep today, Squaddies. We're going to dissect this tabloid madness piece by piece, expose the desperation behind every headline, and reveal why these fantasy stories tell us more about the press's panic than Harry's actual plans. So grab your tea, settle in, and let's unpack this mess together. Let's be honest here. The so-called half-in, half-out fairy tale the tabloids keep recycling is about as fresh as week-old fish left on the counter. Every few months they dust it off, slap on a new headline and try to sell it as breaking news. But really it's nothing more than stale fan fiction dressed up as journalism. Think about it, we've seen this exact same story with different variations at least 20 times since 2020. Harry's homesick. Harry misses royal duties. Harry wants to reconcile. It's like watching a soap opera where the same character gets amnesia every 6 episodes. The writers have completely run out of ideas, so they just keep hitting the reset button and hoping nobody notices. And the timing? Always conveniently when the actual working royals are facing bad press. William's having a rough week? Time to publish Harry's secret return plans? The monarchy's approval ratings dropping? Quick, dust off that palace sources say Harry wants to come home template. According to their wild imagination, Harry is supposedly lounging under California palm trees, sipping on a kale smoothie Meghan whipped up from their garden, and suddenly thinking, I do miss waving at bored crowds in the rain outside Wolverhampton. Please. The only thing Harry might miss about Britain is a decent cup of tea, and even that Amazon delivers straight to Montecito. But let's dig deeper into this fantasy. The tabloids paint this picture of Harry as some homesick exile, pining away in his California mansion. They want us to believe he's sitting there, looking at his Emmy nominations, his Netflix deals, his successful charitable ventures, and thinking, you know what I really need? To go back to ribbon-cutting ceremonies and making small talk about the weather with people who actively leak stories about my wife. Here's the real kicker. This week, the Daily Mail decided to play realtor. Yes, you heard me right. They practically made a property brochure, offering Harry a buffet of royal residences like they were Airbnb rentals. Kensington Palace, Frogmore Cottage, Adelaide Cottage. They even threw Windsor Castle into the mix, as if Harry's scrolling Zillow thinking, which palace should I crash in this weekend? Oh, look comes with free corgis and passive-aggressive relatives. The desperation is palpable. They're itemizing amenities like they're trying to close a real estate deal. Look, Harry, Frogmore has lovely gardens. Adelaide Cottage has been renovated. Windsor Castle has, really thick walls for when your family inevitably leaks stories about you to us. It's like they think Harry's forgotten what living in those places was actually like. The constant surveillance, the staff reporting on your every move, the inability to have a private conversation without it ending up in a tabloid within 24 hours. These aren't homes, they're fishbowls with better architecture. And the sheer audacity of offering him Frogmore Cottage again. The same cottage they evicted him from, demanded he pay back renovation costs for, and then hand it over to someone else. It's like your ex asking if you want to rent your old apartment back at triple the price after they've already moved their new partner in. It's desperation, pure and simple. They're practically begging him, Harry, we vacuumed your old room, we sprayed Febreze. Please come back, we promise the mothballs are gone. Meanwhile, Harry's reality is a sunny Montecito mansion, poolside afternoons, privacy for his family, and zero palace politics. Why on earth would he downgrade? And let's not forget the absurd condition buried in fine print. Apparently, Harry's triumphant return would only work if he avoids William and Kate. Excuse me? So, the grand master plan is for Harry to tiptoe around Buckingham Palace at 2 a.m, Mission Impossible style, whispering, "Don't wake the air, don't wake the air"? Can we just pause and appreciate how insane this sounds? They're literally proposing that Harry return to royal duties, but operate like some sort of palace ghost. Oh, William's at that event? Harry will take the back entrance. Kate's doing a walkabout. Harry will do his 3 blocks away. They're at the Christmas lunch. Harry gets a sad desk sandwich in the servants' quarters. This isn't a family reconciliation, it's a witness protection program with tiaras. If your family reunion requires an avoidance strategy, that's not a family reunion. That's a hostage situation with hors d'oeuvres. Imagine explaining this to a therapist. Well, Doc, I'm thinking of moving back in with my family, but I can never be in the same room as my brother, can't attend the same events, and have to coordinate my schedule around actively avoiding him. Sounds healthy, right? The fact that they present this as a viable solution tells you everything about how toxic that environment really is. They're admitting that the family dynamic is so broken that the only way Harry could hypothetically return is by pretending half his relatives don't exist. And somehow this is supposed to be appealing to him, but the comedy doesn't stop there. One so-called royal expert actually suggested Harry might one day get bored of California sunshine. Can we take a moment to laugh? Imagine trading palm trees, golden beaches, and Meghan's smile for grey skies, drizzle and soggy socks. That's not a lifestyle upgrade, that's a punishment. Only someone bitter, jealous and stuck in the rain could peddle such a delusion. These royal experts have clearly never spent time in Southern California. They think it's all Hollywood superficiality and green juice cleanses. They don't see the thriving tech industry, the incredible educational opportunities, the diverse communities, the year-round outdoor lifestyle that lets Harry play polo and go hiking without checking the weather app first. And let's talk about what boredom means to these people. To them, excitement apparently means standing in the rain at yet another hospital opening, making the same small talk about budgets and patient care while photographers capture your every yawn. Meanwhile, Harry's idea of an exciting day might involve working on Archwell projects that actually change lives, playing with his kids in the backyard, or collaborating with Netflix on documentaries that reach millions. But sure, he's going to get bored of creative freedom, financial independence, and the ability to speak his mind without palace handlers vetting every word. He's going to miss the thrill of having his every move analysed by constitutional experts and his wife's every outfit choice dissected like it's a UN treaty. The projection is staggering. These are people who have never left their small, grey corner of the world, insisting that someone who's experienced both lives would naturally prefer the more restrictive one. It's like someone who's never left their hometown, insisting that Paris must be overrated because all that culture and good food gets old after a while. And then comes their sneakiest little bribe, the security carrot. According to the press, if Harry moves back into a palace, suddenly, magically, he'll qualify for taxpayer-funded protection again. How convenient. Translation: come back, Harry. We'll protect you, but only if you live under our roof and play by our rules. Let's call it what it is, a leash. Nothing more, nothing less. And Harry's already fought in court for the right to protect his family without palace interference. The message is crystal clear. Your safety is conditional on your compliance. Think about the psychology here. They stripped his security when he left, knowing full well the continued threats against him and his family. Now they dangle it back as an incentive to return. It's like an abusive partner saying, come back and I'll stop threatening you. The protection should never have been contingent on his royal status in the first place. He's still Diana's son, still a target because of who he is, regardless of whether he's cutting ribbons for the crown. And here's what really gets me. They act like this is generous, like they're doing him some huge favour by offering to protect him if he gives up his freedom and autonomy. Meanwhile, Harry has repeatedly shown he's willing and able to pay for his own security. He doesn't need their conditional protection. He needs them to stop making his life harder when he tries to arrange his own. The court battle over security was never really about money, it was about control. They wanted to maintain leverage over him, and when he called their bluff by building his own life anyway, they panicked. Now the security offer is just another desperate attempt to reel him back in. Meghan's not packing up Archie and Lily just to throw them back into a gold-plated prison where William's glare and Camilla's side-eye are waiting at breakfast. Not in this lifetime. She's seen what that environment did to her mental health, what it did to her husband, and what it did to his mother. No amount of taxpayer-funded bodyguards is worth subjecting her children to that toxic dynamic. Squaddies, here's the truth. The tabloids aren't writing about Harry's return because it's real. They're writing it because they're panicked, utterly, desperately panicked. They know the firm has lost its biggest asset. Harry is the spark, the charisma, the authenticity that makes people pay attention. Without him, the monarchy is beige wallpaper, dull, cracked and peeling. Look at the engagement numbers. Look at the global interest. When Harry and Meghan do something, the world pays attention. When the remaining royals do something, crickets. William's environmental awards ceremony, barely a blip. Kate's early childhood initiative, polite applause and then silence. Charles's, well, what is Charles even doing these days besides complaining about fountain pens? The monarchy is facing an existential crisis, and they know it. Support is dropping, especially among younger generations. The Commonwealth is crumbling. The institution looks increasingly out of touch and irrelevant. And meanwhile, Harry and Meghan are out there actually making a difference, creating content that resonates, building a brand that stands for something more than just ceremonial hat-wearing. That's why every headline is either a plea, a bribe, or a fantasy, because deep down they know what we know. Harry isn't crawling back. That chapter is over. He slammed the palace door, locked it, and tossed the key into the Thames. The desperation shows in how they frame these stories. They can't admit that Harry's happier without them, so they have to invent reasons why he'd want to come back. They can't acknowledge that his life in California is genuinely better, so they have to pretend it's somehow lacking. They can't face the reality that he's thriving without royal duties, so they have to manufacture scenarios where he's secretly miserable and homesick. Now he's building a real legacy on his own terms. A legacy rooted in compassion, service, authenticity and freedom. He and Meghan are raising their children in peace, growing their projects and living a life that actually matters, without the toxic shadow of the institution weighing them down. Think about what Harry's accomplished since leaving. The Invictus Games continue to thrive and expand. Archie is funding real change around the world. His mental health advocacy has reached millions. The Netflix documentaries have sparked important conversations. His children are growing up without the crushing weight of royal expectations, free to become whoever they want to be. Compare that to the alternative the tabloids are pushing. A return to a life of arbitrary restrictions, manufactured controversies and performative duty. A life where his wife would once again be subjected to daily racist attacks in the press, while his family stays silent. A life where his children would grow up in the same toxic environment that damaged him and cost his mother her life. The choice isn't even close. Meanwhile, the tabloids, they're drowning, splashing around in a puddle of their own delusions, screaming into the drizzle, begging Harry to save them from their irrelevance. Their business model depends on royal drama, and without Harry providing it, they're left manufacturing it from thin air. They're like that friend who can't accept that you've moved on from a toxic relationship. They keep insisting that your ex really loves you and that you should give them another chance, completely ignoring the fact that you're happier, healthier and more successful without that drama in your life. But here's the punchline, squaddies. Harry won't save them. He's already surfing California waves while they're stuck yelling at the rain. He's building something beautiful with his life while they're desperately trying to drag him back into the muck. And that's the truth the tabloids can't stand. Harry chose happiness over duty, freedom over titles, and love over institutional loyalty. And in doing so, he's shown the world that there's a better way to live with authenticity, purpose and joy. The fairy tale they keep peddling isn't Harry's story. It's their own desperate fantasy of relevance in a world that's moved on without them.